we're good, Dr. Perez.
All right, well, welcome this evening. I'd like to call the regular board meeting of the Harlingen CISD Board of Trustees to order. This meeting has been posted in accordance with the Open Meetings Act. Pursuant to Governor Abbott's suspension of open meetings laws, this will be an audio-video conference board meeting. And we do have a quorum. In fact, we have all board members here this evening. And at this time, I'll ask you to please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you very much. And at this time, I'll ask Mr. Strubart, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, sir, Mr. President, trustees, administration, and public audience, please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you very much, Mr. Strubart. And with that, I will now turn it over to Dr. Cavazos for the next item.
So, Dr. Perez, annually we have an agenda item where we take a moment to recognize the current board president for your service as president during the 2019-2020 school year. You know, I can't say enough about your leadership and all that you do to advance the work of not only public education but higher ed. It's been indeed an honor to work alongside you and the Board of Trustees, but particularly you as the president this past year. Your commitment to education spans across all levels through your service to our Harlingen area students and your service across the state, as most recently named a UT Board of Regents, which you did an incredible job at the virtual graduation of our inaugural medical students. So thank you for representing all of us there. Dr. Perez has a passion for education, community service, and mentoring. Dr. Perez has served on the Board of Trustees for 10 years. Our community is grateful for your leadership. During his time on the board, he served as president in 2015 as well. That year, he led the district in its tax ratification election, which allowed us to access $10 million in perpetuity for the district to improve our school system and bring it and modernize it to where we are today and keep working in the future towards that. This year, however, he led our district through its most difficult challenge to date, dealing with an unprecedented crisis. As a medical doctor, Dr. Perez knows the importance of protecting the health and well-being of all our students, staff, and community. I want to thank you, Dr. Perez, for serving our community, students, and staff, and leading HCISD in the correct direction. The board rotates its presidency every year. And so while you'll be missed, we know that you will serve in supporting the new president and ensuring that there is a seamless transition. On behalf of our administration, thank you, Doc, for all that you do, and we're forever grateful for every day that you give us your talent and your time. So we appreciate you. And so I'll turn it back over to you. Oh, by the way, Dr. Perez, we have a gift for you, but I can't give it to you on Zoom, but we'll make sure you get it so that you can cherish that. And then I'll turn it back over to you, Doc. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you very much. It's been an honor to serve this board. It's actually pretty. I shouldn't say this, but it's actually fairly easy to be the president of this board because we're comprised of 7 servant leaders, and we're all here for the same reason. And so, while we may have disagreements and differences of how to approach something, our intention is always student focused, and we're always striving to raise the bar higher and higher and make things better and create better situations, better opportunities for our students. And so, I believe it is because of that, and also because we do something else in a very special way and in a very excellent way, this board, and that is we're very united, and we always work in unison with the superintendent. We are a very strong team of 8, and I believe it is because of that that we were named Board of the Year. Now, it almost seems like an eternity to go now with this pandemic we're living through. It's almost like unbelievable that happened also this year, and you're like thinking about it like, oh yeah, that it did happen this year, because it seems like April was like about 3 years long. I mean, it was just incredible what we've been living through. And so, it's been an honor to serve this year. And like I said, I love my board. I love this board, and I love my board members, and it's just been easy because of them. So thank you very much, Dr. Cavazos. Your words mean so much to me, and we're lucky, very lucky, and blessed to have you as our superintendent, not only during these difficult times, but even during great times when you don't, you have a relentless pursuit or a relentless dissatisfaction where we are. And you're always making things better for our students. And so that was before our pandemic. And so now we're doing that just in a virtual fashion. So thank you very much, Dr. Cavazos. I appreciate the kind words. And so with that, we'll...
Doc, you may want to ask if anybody has a comment. Board member. I mean, I know you want to stop being the president, but you do have to go through the protocol. So.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the reminder. Even an experienced board president needs help from time to time. Are there any comments from the board?
I'd like to say something, Mr. President. I still feel like the new kid on the block. It's been 4 years since I first got elected here. Dr. Reininger came in after me, so she's technically the new kid on the block. But I still feel like that. But I still remember a week or a few days after my election. Remember there was a special election.
Yes, we remember.
There was a few weeks after that election, I got an email from you with tips on how to be a good board member. So, I've been lucky. Belinda's been lucky that we have guys like yourself, Mr. Powers, Dr. Muñiz, Mr. Leon, and Ms. Fury that we can kind of look up to, and you guys guide us along the way and show us what leadership is and what it's like to serve the community of Harlingen. So. Thank you for serving as president. Thank you for the leadership you have shown, not just the district, but us, your fellow trustees, especially the new kids on the block like Dr. Reininger and I. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
This is Belinda. If I might add to that, I too just really want to say thank you so much for the beautiful way you lead and serve and care and give, and you make it so joyful. There is truly no other group that I get to work with that works so hard but does it with such enthusiasm. And Dr. Pettis, I think that is because of your approach, and I just truly want to thank you and coaching me up. I'm definitely the new kid on the block, and I really appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Nolan, I would like to say something, please. And can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
It's difficult to praise someone who is so exceptional and so extraordinary because the superlatives don't say enough. I think Belinda had it right when she spoke for all of us when she said that when God made you, He broke the mold. There is not another Nolan Pettis. There's one coming along, little Nolan, who is your daughter, coming along. Nolan, you have made such an extraordinary difference. I remember that when you first became a board member, we very quickly after that began the transition into technology, and you were front and center in that. And so within that progress, we went into our Transforming Teaching and Learning Committee, which we have been trying to find a way to do for many years, to have a second board meeting that would be preparatory to our main board meeting. And you merged the transition to technology into the new committee meeting that we had all been needing and wanting for a very long time. And then you led us through the TRE, and then you have now led us through the beginnings, unfortunately just the beginnings, I think, of this pandemic. And through it all, there's just been this extraordinary ability that you have to show the servant leadership that we all wish to emulate. We're so grateful to you because you have changed the way, I believe, I believe you've helped us change the way we do everything, every step of the way. And yet you've done it with compassion, and you've done it by joining us together. You represent the mind of a scholar and the heart of a poet. And in doing that, you bring the very leadership that it's possible to have. So you're just extraordinary. We will follow you anywhere, and we will serve with you at any time. Thank you, Nolan, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you too.
President, may I
Yeah, please.
comment about you?
Please.
Listen, I just quick, they said some amazing words, and it's true. They're all true. And where Ms. Fleurier left off with extraordinary, that's absolutely the truth. I agree with you. And I just want to share a quick story. The first time, I don't know if you remember this, Dr. Pettis, but the first time, the way Dr. Pettis and I met, I actually read an article in the Vision magazine. And I was reading the article. I was like, wow, this is amazing about education. And there was an email, to email Dr. Pettis, and I emailed him. I said, hey, I just read your article, extraordinary. He didn't know who I was. And he responded to me and said, hey, we need to get together. And that was my first interaction with them. And talk about accessibility. That was when I realized, wow, how accessible we are to Dr. Pettis. And looking back, knowing what I know now, the fact that you're within these huge networks throughout Texas and the United States, nothing's changed. I can still text you, I can still call you, and I can still be able to have access to you. And again, what Ms. Fleurier said, the mind, such an intelligent person, and the heart of a poet. I mean, not many people have that ability to be able to pick up the phone and respond to a text message. You stayed humbled, and it's a pleasure working with you. Love your leadership. I love your leadership style. Can't thank you enough. The school district, I know, the teachers, administrators, they love you, and thank you for your service. It's been an honor.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Mr. President,
Yeah. Yes, sir. Hurry up.
I echo the sentiments of every single one of the board members that have spoken up so far. I do want to kind of go back to what Jerry said when the mold was broken. I've been trying to find some of those pieces so that I have an inch of the magic that you have, Nolan. But you've been a role model to this board. You've been a role model to the community. But more importantly, you've been a role model to the people from the state of Texas, filling everybody in with the latest things that are going on with the virus and ideas and your suggestions and your advice. You are just one individual that comes around once in 1,000 years, and it's been an honor to sit with you. I've been on the board a little bit longer than you, and I'm still taking notes on what you're doing. You're just one amazing individual, and it's a pleasure to sit with you and the rest of the board members. And you're right when you said that this board and the superintendent and all the administration and all the staff is far beyond other districts in the state of Texas. So congratulations, Nolan. Thank you for being a great president, and we're still excited that you're going to be part of the team, and we look forward to all the great things that you're going to be contributing, just like you have been. So thank you, God bless, and thank you for all you've done.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
All right, yes, sir.
Mr. Soon-to-be immediate past president. Nolan, you're an incredible leader. Our district has really flourished this year. I mean, we've reached some goals that I don't think years ago we thought we'd ever achieve. I mean, what this district has accomplished under your leadership has been really remarkable. I'm always amazed at your ability and your leadership. You are so involved and so busy. And a wise man once said, if you want to get the job right, you want to do it the best way possible, give it to the busiest guy there is. And that's Nolan Pettis. It's remarkable what you accomplish, and you're always there for this board. You're always available, like Bobby said a minute ago. We text you. I mean, if it's more than 10 minutes, it's unusual that you respond or call us back. You've opened incredible doors for this district throughout your 10 years here. There's a lot of opportunities that I don't think we would have been able to experience or take advantage of without your leadership and help in opening those doors for us. And if I'm not mistaken, Art, I think the Transformation Committee, Transformation Technology and Learning Committee was Nolan's idea. I know it didn't exist before I came on the board, and I believe he was the one that brought the idea to the board. Just one of the many accomplishments and advantages that our district has been able to achieve because of you. So thank you so much for your leadership. And like the other said, I'm so glad you're staying on, and I know you'll be there for us, for Eladio and everyone else. So thank you very much.
Thank you all very much. I don't know what to say after all that. I can speak, for a long time about each of you and how much I look up to each one of you. We have a board of truly dedicated individuals that really care. They care with all their hearts, from their hearts, about being servant leaders and about being here, making a difference for the school district. And then what makes it even better is that they all have such brilliant minds. Each one of you has such brilliant minds, and so it's just nice having this special combination. And so, I don't know if you can possibly get board of the year twice in a row, but maybe they'll forget. They gave it to us last year, and then
Yeah.
But I can tell you that even when you get worried, I remember not too long ago we lost a guy by the name of Cesar Maldonado. And then you get worried about, and then the next one comes, and even better. You know what I mean? And I love you, Dr. Maldonado, but we got better. And then we lost. I believe, I don't know, the next one was it not George next? Who was next? Verna, of course. Oh, Verna, may she rest in peace. We love you, Verna. And but we each time we get better. And there's this magic sauce. There's just the culture, the ambiance, something about it is just magic right now in this district. And I think Jerry has said that time is just a magical time in HCISD. And then of course, when George leaving, and just each time goes by, we get better, and and so we're very lucky where we are, and I'm honored that I'll continue to serve. It's nice to have a break and not have I love talking to Dr. Cavazos, but maybe it'll be about fun stuff. The one pagers scare me. His one pager, and he burst out the one pager. I'm like, okay, let me get my Tums and anyway. So, but it's been a lot of fun. So, thank you guys. It means so much. Your words. It just I hope we record this so I can play it back to my wife so she knows how fantastic. So, all right. With that, we'll go to our next item, and I'll ask Mr. Julio Cavazos to help us with the issuance of certifications of election. I think you're muted.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Perez, Dr. Cavazos. Agenda item number 3 is the issuance of the certificate of elections for each newly elected trustee. These certificates will be presented to Ms. Fleury and Mr. De Leon after our board president signs them. Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Again, the board president is going to sign them. as the presiding officer for the canvassing election. Once he's signed, he's going to present him to the two newly elected board members. Congratulations to both.
Congratulations.
Pettis.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, and we'll get that done ASAP. For the even more special and symbolic part of your elections, would you please help us with the oath of office?
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Pettis, Dr. Cavazos, board members. Agenda item number 4 is the oath of office. Sonia Brown will administer the oath of office to each newly elected member. So I'm going to hand over to Sonia.
Thank you, Mr. Cavazos. It is my sincere honor to swear in Mrs. Fleurier and Mr. De Leon this evening, and I want to, say how wonderful y'all are as board members. But Mrs. Fleurier, can you?
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to stand up.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your name,
I, Jerry Fleurier,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of trustee for the Harlingen CISD of the state of Texas, and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state, so help me God. Congratulations.
My family.
You're fat.
Okay, Mr. Javier De Leon, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
It's a pleasure to swear you in this evening also.
My honor, Sonia.
Thank you. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, state your name,
I, Javier De Leon,
do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office
of
trustee
trustees
for the Harlingen CISD
for the Harlingen CISD
of the state of Texas, and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state, so help me God. Congratulations. You're welcome.
Congratulations. Any board members have any comments for our newly re-elected trustees? Well, I can just say it's a pleasure to have you both back on for 3 more years. Both of you are just gems and bring so much energy, passion, and intellect and value add to this district. And what can I say? You all have been serving for quite some time, but every year service gets better and better. And so it's a pleasure working with you all side by side, and definitely thank our Harlingen CISD community for its wisdom of re-electing unanimously our trustees. So thank you very much.
Dr. Pettis?
Yes, ma'am.
I need to witness their signature on the form, please.
Do you need me to do that right? When do we do that?
I can just watch Mrs. Fleurier sign her form. And
okay, sounds good. Well, why don't we, Mrs. Fleurier, is there a way to?
She's got it. She's got the form.
Okay, so you can hold it up to the camera and she can see.
Yes, I can see her signing. Yes.
Okay, good. Excellent. And then Javier, if you could do the same thing, that'd be great.
Sure. We're gonna do one at a time, right? You're gonna do Jerry's first.
I've already seen Jerry. Go ahead.
If you think the burden of proof for Ken Paxton, the Attorney General, is tough, this is Sonia Brown we're talking about. So it's a whole nother level here.
I know. Look at Mr. De Leon. He's making sure she sees it.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, well that's great. Like I said, very, very, very lucky to have both of y'all back on, and this is a great time in this district, and we just couldn't be happier about this situation. Thanks to our wisdom of the voters. So,
Thank you very much. Thank you.
congratulations, Jerry. Congratulations, Javier.
Thank you.
And at this time, I'll ask Mr. Julio Cavazos to lead us in our yearly tradition of reorganization of the board.
Thank you, Dr. Pettis, Dr. Cavazos, board members. Agenda item number 5 is the reorganization of the board. The board is familiar with the process. First, we elect the new president, then the new president takes over the meeting, then a new vice president is elected, and then a new secretary. So I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Pettis to proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Cavazos. And at this time, the office of the president nominations are open. Do we have a motion for president of the school board?
Yes, please, Dr. Perez. I would like to enthusiastically nominate Mr. Eladio Jaimes to serve as HCISD board president.
Second.
We have a motion by Dr. Reiner, second by Mr. De Leon for Mr. Eladio Jaimes for board president. Any discussions? Any further nominations? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no?
Aye.
Excellent. It passes unanimously. And Mr. President, congratulations, and the gavel is now yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate that nomination and the trust that comes with this office. So we'll just move right along then. And if I can get a nomination for the office of vice president.
Mr. President, it's an honor to nominate Jerry Fleurier as vice president of our board.
I second the motion.
Second.
Okay, we got a nomination from Mr. Greg Powers and a second, I think, from Dr. Perez. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, congratulations, Ms. Fleury.
Thank you very much. It will be an honor to serve with this board and with our new president.
Thank you, thank you. Next, can we get a nomination for the officer spot of secretary?
Mr. President, it's my honor to nominate Dr. Bauman Muniz as secretary of the HCISD.
Do we have a nomination for Mr. De Leon? Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Dr. Reininger. Any discussion? Can we get all those in favor to vote aye?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, Dr. Muniz, our new secretary.
Thank you very much, guys. It's going to be an honor. Looking forward to it.
And Mr. President, if I could just say how proud I am of this new officer slate we have. I think you're in good hands, Eladio, with your officers, and I want to tell you, Mr. President, that from day one, you've impressed me with your thoughtfulness and your ability to learn on the fly and learn as we go. It's almost as you had been on another school board somewhere else. I told Dr. Cavazos, probably the very first or second meeting, how impressed I've been, how well spoken you are. Of course, probably given your previous profession, I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was very, very impressed with how well spoken you've always been, and particularly because for me it's kind of difficult sometimes in a huge crowd. But you're used to that kind of stuff, and you've done very well, and you've been a very value-add member of this board in your years already, and so we're really, really, really happy that you're our president now, and we can't wait to have this year with you as a leader. And congratulations, and take it away. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Pettis. Obviously, as we recognized you earlier, and everybody had all those nice things to say, I'm like, man, these are going to be some big shoes to fill. But I'm glad that you're still there, and I'm glad that all my other fellow trustees are there. And I don't take this position lightly. Growing up here in Harlingen and being a product of the school district, and seeing what the history of this school board itself has meant to this community, it's a position I take to heart, and I look forward to serving alongside each and every one of you, and leading through service, and continue to learn from all of you all as well. So thank you again, Dr. Pettis. Thank you, everybody. Does anybody else have any comments? If not, we'll move right along. So our next item is appointment of board members to sign checks. Mr. Julio Cavazos.
Thank you, Mr. Jaimes, Dr. Cavazos, board members. All checks written by the district have two signatures, the board presidents and myself. Since we have a new president, we need to get new signature plates. We're asking the board to allow us to use the old ones until we get the new plates. Should take within about 2 to 3 weeks. We recommend approval.
Okay, do you have a motion?
Motion for approval?
Motion from Mr. De Leon.
Second the motion.
Second, Dr. Pettis. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Cavazos. Next one is approval of minutes. We have to approve 2 meetings. The first one is the April 14th, 2020 regular board meeting. Do you have a motion to approve those minutes?
Mr. President, I move approval.
We have a motion from Ms. Fleurier.
Second.
Second from Mr. Powers. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We have another meeting, May 5th, 2020 special board meeting and budget workshop.
Move approval of the minutes of May 5th board meeting as presented.
We have a motion from Dr. Pettis and a second from Dr. Reiniger, I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
All those in favor, vote aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Thank you. Next one, we'll move on to the approval of consent calendar. Do I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move approval of consent calendar as presented.
Thank you, Dr. Pettis. We have a motion for Dr. Pettis to approve the consent calendar. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second for Mr. Powers. All those in favor?
Mr. President, as far as the discussion, could I just mention something?
Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask Dr. Cavazos. The artist in residency program. I don't necessarily don't really want to get into much detail. Although I just want to tell you how impressed I think a lot of people have been, students and the teachers and the different folks in the community with that artist in residency program. And I noticed it's in our consent calendar. And I would just ask if you could please, we've had some impressive people, some very talented people come through the district and spend time with us, considerable amount of time inspiring our students. And I would just ask if maybe we can maybe be sort of apprised of who these individuals are in the way of a board and maybe our Friday updates and how long they're going to be around and what their backgrounds are, so we can kind of feel like we know them ourselves. And then when we meet them, because we're getting some pretty special people coming through and pretty talented people, and I think it'd be kind of we've kind of done it organically so far, and it's worked out nicely. But if there's a special way you think that we can meet them, or just maybe get to know them, or maybe just become aware of them, I trust that you can find a great way to make that happen. I just want to tell you how impressed a lot of folks in the community have been with this program. Thank you.
I agree.
Thank you, Dr. Pettis. Did we vote on it?
No.
Not yet.
All right, can I get a vote on approval of the consent calendar? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Okay, thank you. We approve the consent calendar. Next item on the agenda is public comments for agenda topics. Do we have any?
There are no public comments for agenda topics, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. Next, public audience for non-agenda topics.
There are no public audience for non-agenda topics.
Thank you, Dr. Cavazos. Moving on, matters relating to transformation and school support. And we will get a report from the Transforming Teaching and Learning Committee report from Dr. Alicia Noyola.
Thank you, Mr. President, Dr. Cavazos, board members, and administration. Last Tuesday, May 5th, we held our Transforming Teaching and Learning Committee meeting. At that meeting, we had two topics that we brought forward for discussion. The first presentation from that evening was conducted by Mrs. Veronica Corton, our Administrator for Organizational Development. As part of her presentation, she introduced the topic, Closing the Divide with Blended Learning. So obviously this whole experience with remote learning has brought forward a lot of lessons, particularly through our school-at-home programming. And so as we look to prepare for the future, we also wanted to hear the voice of our students, our teachers, really our entire community on the school-at-home experience. And so through a number of surveys and responses from our staff, and as well as the various people that I mentioned earlier, we learned a lot, got a lot of positive outcomes with regard to that experience, but also in the process, we also identified some areas that we needed to address simply to make the experience better for our students and really provide for that continuity of instruction that was asked of us at the state level. So within that presentation, we talked about three areas that really were critical if we were going to improve those type of outcomes for our students. And so one of those was, how do we bridge that digital divide that exists amongst our students? And so as part of her presentation, she shared that we will be migrating all our classes towards an online learning platform where we're embedding that technology into day-to-day learning, really for the purpose of improving our students' agility with technology. But along that line, it also applies to our staff. And how do we bridge their digital divide with regard to technology and how we improve learning for our students? So over the next 12 months, we will really focus on professional development for our teachers in order that we can provide the very best lessons for our students. We also talked about one other area where we really needed to close gaps, and that was in the area of access to the internet. So while we can provide computers, we can provide our staff with the skill set, we know that we have students at home that are not able to access because of internet, then we don't accomplish our overall mission. And so as part of that presentation, we also talked about how we will look to provide greater access to the internet for our students. We talked a little bit about how we are converting some of our buses into hotspots and putting those out into our community, working with the city to really assess what those areas where those areas across the city are where we need to increase that connectivity. Done a lot of surveys of students to really identify and individualize who are those students that are needing that additional access. And so we're really excited at where this work is going and really turning what instruction looks like and changing what that looks like across our entire district for all of our students. So a lot of really exciting lessons that were learned that really will continue to transform how we do work in our district. The second topic that we presented that evening was titled COVID-19 Response and Recovery. And so as part of that presentation, we shared with our committee our response to COVID-19, kind of giving an update on where we are at this point, but also with the lifting of the shelter in place, where we go from here as we attempt to transition back to some degree of normalcy and really looking at how do we recover. Obviously, because there is no current vaccine, we're still responding to this, but also thinking about the future and moving towards that recovery phase. So within that presentation, we reviewed what we have done thus far, and also shared with our board a 5-phase recovery plan that really depicts what the next few months are going to look like. 3 areas that we're focusing quite a bit of attention on and that will guide a lot of the work that we do. One is the preparation for the closing of schools of the 2019-20 school year. May 22nd is our last day of school, and so there's a lot of work that has to happen in order for us to close out that year and start looking to what the new year looks like. We also, as part of that plan, will look at what summer programming could potentially look like in light of some of the possibilities learning gaps that developed over the last month or so. So looking at that part as well as fall preparation. So as we open the fall school year, we anticipate that it will not be exactly the way it was last year, and there are a number of things that we will have to take into consideration. So over the next few months, we're going to be looking at a number of different scenarios. We anticipate that we will have to implement some degree of our CDC guidelines, if not all of them. And so as we attempt to be prepared for our students' return, we want to make sure that we have created multiple scenarios. We don't quite know where we're at. We're getting quite a bit of guidance from the state. Have weekly meetings with the Commissioner of Education, giving us the latest information that they have at their level. And so with that guidance, we're starting to begin those preparations for what the fall of 2020 will look like and the return of our students. So we'll certainly over the next few months keep our board and our community updated on what those plans look like in preparation. Dr. Reiniger chairs our Transforming Teaching and Learning Committee, and so I'll turn it over to her for any additional comments.
Thank you, Dr. Noyola, for all the work you do on this committee to bring the very latest information to us. My fellow trustees, this was once again a remarkable meeting highlighting the very careful work that our district continues to do to move forward, for taking the lessons learned and the challenges and turning them into exciting learning lessons. So we heard about the learning community and the blended learning. I think this opportunity, you can see our district just use this challenging time to accelerate the learning community by not just putting throwing technology at the issue, but going so much further, taking the technology, looking at the building capacity within our district teachers and staff to make sure that it's useful, and then going even a step further and thinking about the environment in which our children are coming and how we have to address the environment and the internet access. Comprehensive, thoughtful, careful plans, as always, but once again, just exceed expectations. And then the 5-phased approach moving forward, coming back from COVID-19, and how to do that with an absolute focus on keeping the children, the staff, students, the administration safe and healthy. And knowing that we have to have different scenarios, and maybe none of those scenarios play out exactly the way we thought they would, but because we've gone through this very careful planning, we're going to be we have been prepared and we will remain prepared. I feel just tremendously proud of the work that you all have done, and I feel like we are going to close school down safely. We'll have the summer programming that's appropriate, and we will be prepared for the fall. Thank you, Dr. Noyola.
Thank you, Dr. Reiniger, Dr. Noyola, for that detailed report. I'll open it up to discussion if any trustees have anything to say on this report.
Mr. President?
Yeah, go ahead, Dr.
I just want to tell you, and I've shared a lot of this with Dr. Cavazos, that almost a day doesn't go by that I don't hear from somebody in the community or from a region, again, asking of what Harlingen's doing, how are we handling this, how are we handling that, or just praising us for being so thoughtful in our leadership, being so methodical in our leadership, and not just rushing to come out with a news or a news flash or a press release or something that's going to get in either online media or newspaper or whatever, but just making sure that whatever we do and whatever we put on, whatever announcements we put on our websites, it's only done after thoughtful and careful consideration, and done in a way that's going to yield the best results for our students and the best results for our school district. I just want to all that to say, thank you, Dr. Cavazos, but thank you, Dr. Noyola, and to the entire senior team for just all of y'all just being such incredible leaders. It's because it doesn't happen by itself. This is a large district with so many moving parts, so many complicated pieces, and it's just amazing how y'all sometimes kind of make it look easy. And I know you all are going to say you have incredible principles, and it's all true. But it starts at the top, and you guys have just been incredible. And we as the board can go out there and take the credit, but they start asking us for details, and we're like, oh, don't worry, we'll forward this email to Dr. Cavazos. He'll be in touch with you real quick, because they start asking us for details, and then we become dangerous. But joking aside, we do know a lot about the details, but we don't necessarily focus on that as a board because we trust in our leaders at the top. And I just wanted to thank y'all for doing things in such a methodical and well-planned way. It's like plan the work, as you say, plan the work, then work the plan. And I think we do that pretty well, Harjan. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, Dr. Pettis.
Thank you, Dr. Pettis. Anybody else? I do want to say that I agree with Dr. Pettis, and that we talk about leadership and we talk about Dr. Pettis' leadership and everybody on the board. But I think part of that leadership that we have is knowing our place in this ship. And I think Dr. Pettis used the right word, and that's trust. And trusting here, Dr. Cavazos, Dr. Noyola, Ms. Cortan, Joseph, everybody that plays a key role in not just the development and the running of the school district, but during these times, having to, as you say, pivot and just kind of, I don't want to say think on the fly, but sometimes you just have to, we didn't have too many days to get ready for this, and you guys have done a superb job. So thank you for the presentation for this report and everything that you guys have done so far and everything that's yet to come. So with that, we'll move on to item number 12, and that is matters related to curriculum and instruction. Dr. Noyola?
Thank you, Mr. President. As you are aware, every biennium, our district, along with districts across the state, receive an allotment of funds for the purchase of instructional materials, particularly materials adopted by the State Board of Education that align to the TEKS that our teachers are expected to instruct in our classrooms. In addition, those funds are also used for the purpose of technology to be able to access those instructional materials and provide direct instruction to students, as well as any additional technology resources. Previously, the state made some adjustments to the language arts TEKS at the high school level, and a few other courses, including debate, journalism, and practical writing, which are all courses that we teach in our district. And so with that adjustment to the TEKS, we had to evaluate our textbooks and make a determination on whether they were aligned to those new TEKS that were brought forward. And so one of the things that the state does through their proclamations is they identify instructional materials, they do the background work and identify those instructional materials that align to the newly identified TEKS, especially with regard to textbooks. So because we knew that we were going to need additional textbooks to really be able to fully align to those TEKS, we went through a textbook adoption process. We had several nights where we made available to our teachers for them to come in, visit with publishers, look at textbooks that were on the list of textbooks that the state was putting out for adoption. We went through that entire process. We went through a vote where our teachers were able to identify their choices of textbook that they felt would be of most value to them instructionally. These textbooks were identified and then reported to our Instructional Materials Committee report. The textbooks that you have in your packet were the ones that were overwhelmingly selected by our district staff. As they evaluated the textbooks, not only do they look at the textbook, but they also look at all of the additional materials that come with that textbook, because we know that instruction doesn't just rely on a book. There are other pieces that our teachers need in order to really make those engaging lessons. And so One of the things that we looked at things very differently this year as we were looking at textbook adoption. Obviously, our experiences from COVID-19 and the remote teaching really led us to look at this process from a very different lens. And so as we move forward, knowing based on what I just shared earlier about our move to increase technology, the textbook, in particular the language arts textbooks that we're looking at digital formats for all of those books. All of these textbooks that we're looking at come with additional digital resources, opportunities to have classroom discussion boards online, opportunities to have more of a remote learning participation, working with parents closely, additional things like writing, grammar, and vocabulary centers, which are an opportunity for a student to work on their own and continue to advance their skill set. So a number of really exciting resources that our teachers really thought would be of value to them. So in your packet tonight, you've received a list of the textbook adoptions that HCISD staff is recommending. They are all on the approved list by the Texas State Board of Education. So your approval tonight is going to certify that we are utilizing our instructional allotment funding for its intended purpose, which is the purchase of materials that assist in supporting the instruction of our TEKS curriculum and cover those designated TEKS in these identified courses. Administration recommends approval and recommends the signing of this certification.
Mr. President,
Go ahead, Mr. De Leon.
I have a question. Do I ask the question first, or do we have a motion first? What goes first?
We'll do the motion first, and then if you want to ask a question after that. Okay, so do I have a motion for approval of instructional materials allotment certification?
Make a motion for approval.
Make a motion from Mr. De Leon.
Second motion.
Second from Dr. Perez. Okay, Mr. De Leon, you had a comment?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad to hear, Dr. Niola, that that was one of my questions when I saw it on the agenda is what are we doing differently rather than the year previously where it's just a book. So I'm glad to hear. Thank you. I tell you, HCISD is always one step ahead of everything going on. So good job on that. Those books that we're getting, are there discs in them? So that I think I heard you correctly. Is there discs inside the books that's going to really help out with? Because I don't know where we're going to be 4 months from now. You know, God willing, we're going to be almost back to normal in the fall. But we hope for the best and we prepare for the worst. And with that, if for some reason we're kind of in the same situation we're at right now, is there or CDs in the books or something that is going to allow the students to do a lot of the activities at home with their computers? You know, did you specifically buy the books for that?
So these textbooks come with some aspects that are web-based and then some aspects where it does do similar to what you're saying, where there's a resource they can use even absent of whether they have internet access or not, so the CDs and those types of things. In addition, we always, besides the digital version, we also order some hard copies for whatever the situation may be. And sometimes we have students that just work better with a hard copy that they can look through. So we ultimately order a diverse version of that. Our goal is to move primarily to that online format for students. We will have those hard copies as well as the pieces that come with separate accesses that they can just put into their computer and be able to do what they need to do, even absent of the internet.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Leon. Any further discussion? Now we'll vote. All those in favor, vote aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion passes. Thank you, Dr. Nola.
We need to have a ayes.
Mr. Powers was an aye, Sonia. He's delayed.
He was delayed a little.
transmission.
Moving on to item number 13, matters related to business services. First one, we'll look into consideration for approval to award instructional technology devices. Mr. Julio Cavazos.
Thank you, Mr. Hyman, Dr. Cavazos, board members. Agenda item 13A is consideration and approval of technology device bid. We solicited proposals for additional iPads and Google Chromebooks. For Chromebooks, we are recommending CDW Government. We're purchasing 1,400 Chromebooks at a cost of $250 per Chromebook. That's a total of $350,000. And for the iPads, we're recommending to go with Apple. We're purchasing 10,155 Apples plus 3 Mac Minis for a total of $3,886,531.75. The annual payments, we're going to do the Apple on a lease, so the annual payments for the Apple products is going to be $971,632.95 for 4 years. I do have a recap if you want to take a look at it here real quick. Can you see that?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the recap on the Chromebooks for CDW, and then the iPads again, 10,150 iPads, 155 plus those 3 minis, total of $3.8 million, $971,000 per year at 0% interest for 4 years. So we're able to trade those in at the end of the 4-year term. We recommend approval. Mrs. Cortan did discuss this at our transformation and learning committee meeting last week in detail.
Right. Do we have a motion? And after the motion, we can discuss if someone wishes to discuss. Do I have a motion?
I move approval.
Dr. Renninger with the motion. Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
And Ms. Fleurier with a second. Does anybody have any discussion for this? If not, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I heard Greg that time. Any opposed? Thank you. The motion passes. Next up is item 13B, consideration for approval to award construction services contract for the Harlingen CISD Vernon World Languages Academy Phase 3 bid. Mr. Cavazos?
Thank you, Mr. Hyman, Dr. Cavazos, board members. Agenda item 13B is approval of the Vernon World Language Academy Phase 3. Ranking committee met and ranked the 3 proposals we received. We are recommending the top rank offer of Hochimont Construction for a total cost of $135,000. Again, this is Phase 3, the last phase, and it came in within our budget.
All right.
Mr. President, I move approval of the award construction services contract for the Harlingen CISD Vernon World Languages Academy Phase 3 bid as presented.
Second the motion.
Thank you, Dr. Pettis, and that was Dr. Muiz? Yes.
Yes.
All right, any discussion? If not, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Next, we'll move on to item 14, matters relating to district operations and facilities and safety committee reports for Mr. Oscar Tapi.
Thank you, Board President Jaimes, members of the board, Dr. Cavazos. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, you're good.
Okay, on May 5th, we held a facilities committee meeting, went over several TRE projects updates, starting with the Treasure Hills new wing, went over the status of the project, the progress we've made, the punch list that the architect's working on. We're trying to close it out. We're about 98% done. They started on the landscaping irrigation system and continue working on the inside of the building for some of the punch lists. And we did go over an alternate BCT floor design in lieu of the stained concrete at the building, so we'll be moving forward with that. On phase 2, we are bidding out the project already. It's on the streets May 19th. The bids will come in, and we're targeting a June 2nd board meeting for award at the special call. Vernon phase 2. We went over the, again, punch list items. They're trying to work a little bit on the landscaping. They're having some issues with the grass. They're adjusting the sprinkler system and treating the soil. And we went over the tree. It's planning to be replaced. And they finished the mounting the world globe on the front of the building. So that's pretty much all that's pending on that job. The phase 3 Vernon, which is...
Could I ask for a comment on Mr. Powers? I'd like to know what his thoughts are on this tree situation.
Well, I dusted off my hard hat and I over at the job site. I times a day, and Oscar's got it under control. They're slowly taking down that poor, beautiful tree, but he's found a very, very pretty replacement.
Thank you, Mr. Powers.
Thank you, Mr. Auditor. I mean, Mr. Powers.
Also went over the golf skill station. The holdup there was to getting the netting delivered to the site. There was a hold because of the whole COVID-19 situation, but the vendor, the manufacturer, finally completed the product and delivered it to our site. So they're installing it here by the end of the week, and then after that they'll finish up some of the landscaping work. The multi-purpose new panel walls, we'll give an update that they've done all the interior painting work at Sam Houston Elementary and they're over at Dishman now working. And then when they're done there, they'll proceed over to Stewart Place and Rodriguez Elementary. The early college high school, we're finalizing the plans. We already started advertising, and we're doing last-minute reviews of the plans, any little changes that we have. I'm also working with the university folks. They also have some comments that they keep making little observations, so we're making those changes through an addendum that's going out, which is a change to the specs. But the bids will be in next Friday, May 21st, and we'll rank it the following week. And if everything goes in accordance to plan, we should have a recommendation by the June 2nd special call board meeting for award. Went over the Transition Academy. We had 8 bidders. And the bids were higher than we expected, so we're continuing to evaluate that, and we'll give a recommendation at the next committee meeting. And then Julio Cavazos did a financial report on all of our construction projects, and then we adjourned. So I'll turn it over to our facilities chair, Greg Powers, if he has anything to add.
Not a whole lot, Oscar. I mean, as always, y'all are keeping everything, all these projects. It always amazes me how we always have a lot of projects going on, and they're all going very well. Vernon looks tremendous. If y'all haven't had a chance to go by and look at the globe and the grounds, everything looks really, really, really nice. Early college is coming along great. The design looks great, and y'all are doing a great job on that. The Transition Academy, I know we have some work to do on it, and you'll be making some recommendations, I think, in our next meeting as to where we're going to head with that. But the design looks great. It's just the costs are pretty high at this point, and I know you're working on that. So everything else looks great. Treasure Hills is coming along well. The grounds look great. I know the problem with the floors being worked out, and hopefully we'll have a resolution to that real soon. So thank you for all your hard work in your group. Also, I just want to comment that some of the work done at Vernon was actually done by Oscar's in-house team. I think the rails and a lot of the work on the front of the school, and it just amazes me at the talent that we have within our own district. So thank you, and thank your staff for a great job.
Thank you, Mr. Powers.
Thank you, Oscar. Thank you, Greg. Next, does anybody have any discussion on the facilities committee report? If not, Oscar, I just want to say thank you too. I think Greg mentioned that a lot of the work that's being done in-house, it doesn't go unnoticed. So thank you, and thank you to your staff. If we have no further discussion, we'll move into adjournment to close or executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code sections 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, and 551.082, the Open Meetings Act for the following purposes. Discussion regarding bids received at the November 5th, 2019 tax resale on property struck off to Cameron County for itself and other taxing jurisdictions. Discuss purchase of real estate. Discuss approval of Harlingen CISD administrators' contracts for the 2020-2021 school district. Discuss recommendations regarding employment of the renewal of educators and professional contracts for probationary term and other contract employment for 2020-2021, and discuss employment of teachers and other professional staff. We are now in executive session.
Okay, so we'll
Okay, we're back. We're reconvening into open session for action on matters discussed in executive session. It is 8:46, and we're back in open session. First item A, 16A, consider bids received at the November 5th, 2019 tax resale on property struck off to Cameron County for itself and other taxing jurisdictions. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion for approval as discussed in executive session.
Motion by Mr. De Leon. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Dr. Reininger. Okay, we'll vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. 16B, consider and take possible action regarding the purchase of real estate. We do not need action on that one. We'll move on to C, consider approval of Harlingen CISD Administrator's Contract for 2020-2021. Do I have a motion?
I move approval as discussed in executive session.
Second
Thank
the
you.
motion.
Murray, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Muniz, Dr. Muniz? Thank you. Can we get a vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. 16D, consider recommendations regarding employment of the renewal of educators and professional contracts for probationary term and other contract employment for 2021. Can I get a motion?
Sorry, Dr. Cavazos, was there special language on this one or not necessarily?
Not necessary.
Okay, motion to approve the Harlingen CISD Administrator contracts for 2020 and 2021 school year as presented. Executive session.
Second.
No,
Hold on, Doc.
Dr. Pettis, I think you read number C.
It's letter D.
Oh, you're on B now. You're on D, I'm sorry.
On D.
I apologize, okay. So, recommend, employment of, educators, professional contracts for probationary term and other, contract, as discussed in executive session.
Thank you, Dr. Pettis. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Powers, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Finally, 16E, consider employment of teachers and other professional staff.
Mr. President, I move approval of employment of teachers and other professional staff as discussed in executive session.
I second the motion.
Dr. Reininger with the motion, Dr. Muniz with the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We pass. And with that, if there's no more business, we are adjourned.
Before you all log off, just wave. Shane wants to take a picture. The past president and the past president. So you got it.
Got it?
Thank you guys.
All right, thank
See
you.
y'all.
Good night.
Great meeting.
Great meeting.